This the TempahZone podcast.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, how is it going? People all around the world listening to this one right here. It is episode 27 of the TempahZone podcast with your host, me, Amir Max. And that's all facts. Ladies and gentlemen, I have my special guest with me. She is also my cousin, ladies and gentlemen. And look, she don't make music, but it don't matter because she got dope shit to say. Great person right here, y'all. Give it up for Mikayla, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi.
Mikayla, how you doing on this lovely day?
I'm doing good. You know, I'm not a music maker, but I put on a mean car concert. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like my car audience, they're fans and they love me.
Oh,
yeah. They follow what I do.
Flawless performances every single time.
Really though, I hit all the notes. You know what I'm saying? So I got a choral background, so you know.
Yeah, you don't play around.
I do sing. Yeah.
No, I've heard you sing. You're actually really good. You're really good.
Thank you.
So if you ever considered starting a music career, I
know, man.
You could do it if you want to. If you want to, keyword,
Yeah, put me on the track.
Yeah.
See what I can do.
We'll make something happen.
Get me in the studio.
Yeah. That'd be funny. That'd be great.
Yes.
I gotta delve into this topic because as a music podcast, as a hip hop podcast, it's just something that we gotta address. R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle, man. Where do I begin to say how great of a person Nipsey Hussle was? A dude that really, stood for something really big. He came from a neighborhood that was not the best and turned it around and became a hustler, an independent hustler. Selling t-shirts out of his car, selling the mixtapes out of the whip, pushing on a level to really get himself out there. And he put 10 years of amazing work out there. And 10 years, when I mean 10 years, obviously 10 years where when he was really on his tip, on his level. Because obviously he was grinding a lot harder before all that, trying to make it. And it's really tough. This is I hate to compare deaths and all this stuff, but I don't think I think this is probably the biggest loss that hip hop has taken in a very, very, very long time, because Nipsey Hussle, what he stood for and everything that he did to help his community and put on for the people around him was just so remarkable, so commendable. It's just something you got to applaud. I would love to see more artists do the same as Nipsey Hussle. I think more of them definitely need to see the blueprint that Nipsey Hussle did and follow along, because there's obviously more rappers out there who could do the same thing that Nipsey Hussle was doing, and they did it. Nipsey Hussle was starting a STEM program, Vector. What was the name? I want to make sure I get the name right of this. He was starting a program, building STEM communities, STEM programs in communities, helping out middle schoolers. Vector 90, and that was one of his business ventures to help out kids in the community and help them with, just getting better at that in those fields that definitely need help and pay well. So he was really putting on for his community in a great way, empowering everyone around him. And to the guy that did this to Nipsey Hussle, I know his name, but I don't want to say his name. I really don't want to. I don't want to
glorify him.
Yeah, I don't forget that. Look, he met with Nipsey Hussle that day. I guess there was an argument that went on, and he came back to the store and shot it up, man. It was shot him in the head and in the chest, and shot up other people as well who had injuries. And one of the things that I took away from this was that somebody was just envious of Nipsey Hussle. They looked at Nipsey Hussle and said, man, that dude's just so much better than me, doing so much more than me. And we come from the same place. And look at this dude doing all these big things. And envy is a strong emotion. hate is a strong emotion, and from what we can see with this, is somebody who just had a lot of hate in his heart, had a lot of insecurity in his heart, and did something really just disgusting and vile and just so nasty. I hope he gets life in prison with no chance of parole, man. This dude can burn in hell, man. Seriously, like, you took away such a great person from us. And it's funny because I'm talking about Nipsey Hussle. I have yet to mention how good his music was.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
I have yet to mention how good Nipsey Hussle's music is. And whether you were a fan of him before he was gone or not, just know that Nipsey Hussle was, talented in all remarks. He wasn't the biggest rapper. He definitely wasn't, and I definitely noticed that after his passing. A lot of people were very vocal and saying R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle and paying their respects, but I think at the same time I noticed that a lot of people weren't really in tune with Nipsey Hussle and what he was doing. But Nipsey Hussle was just coming off of a great year with a Grammy-nominated album with Victory Lap. That album just, it was a statement. It was a statement on the game, letting people know, like, Nipsey Hussle he was the last of a dying breed, his rapping style. Just, he wasn't like, super metaphors and similes like that, but he would just talk real life shit, real life stories and say real things. Just doing, rapping like a boss, rapping like an actual boss, somebody who just moved in a certain way. Nipsey Hussle was just unique in that way. And Nipsey Hussle, my first time listening to Nipsey Hussle was back in 2013 when he dropped the project Crenshaw. And that's when I was like, yo, this dude's really dope, man. Just a solid rapper, a different type of rapper, a rapper that we don't really see too much nowadays in the mainstream. And I think that with Nipsey passing, I think a lot of people are going to, take notes from what he did, not just with the music, but, what he was doing outside of that, helping out his community. It's just crazy, man. Another thing that I got to mention off of this is, returning from your hood to your hood after being successful. Mm-hmm. We see too many artists who get taken out in the place they're from.
Yeah.
You saw it with Chinks. You saw it with XXXTentacion. You see it a lot. You see it a lot. You saw it with Nipsey Hussle, and it's just so just nasty how the place that where you're from could be the most dangerous place for you.
Right.
That's
the reason you tried to get out. You had to get out.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just unfortunate that that's the case. But Nipsey Hussle was trying to help out his community. That's why he stayed there. That's why he didn't want to go away, because he wanted to do the best for the place that he was from, because he wanted the place that he was from to flourish. He wanted to see that change. And a lot of people are saying with this Nipsey Hussle passing, a lot of people are saying all these conspiracies and all this stuff about Dr. Sebi. For those of you who don't know who Dr. Sebi was, he's he was into holistic medicines and had a cure for AIDS and potentially a cure for other diseases that we need in this world. And he won a case about it with the pharmaceutical companies back in the 90s, and he was taken out in 2016. Just really nasty. And a lot of people look at that and say the government did that to to help out the pharmaceutical companies that make a shit ton of money. So and Nipsey Hussle was making a documentary about Dr. Sebi, and a lot of people believe that Nipsey Hussle was taken out because he was making this documentary. But I'm pretty sure Nick Cannon was involved in it too. So what about Nick Cannon? Should we watch Nick Cannon as well?
Right.
I think a lot of people bring up that conspiracy because I don't think people want to address the issue that someone just did this for no reason whatsoever, just purely based off of hate and envy. I think that no one wants to address that. No one wants to admit that. I don't believe there was a conspiracy behind it. And to anyone out there that thinks that, think twice. Think twice about the situation that happened, man. Think twice about that.
Yeah. want to make sense out of something that's senseless, you know?
Exactly. I think that's all that
It's
people were.
unfortunate.
Yeah, that's all people were trying to do. They saw the situation, just like, man, like, why would someone take out someone as good of a person as Nipsey Hussle? Like, why would you do such a terrible thing? And I think people were just trying to find some reasoning behind it. And look, somebody had a lot of hate in their heart, man. The hood is in the hood, man, like, we need to stop these types of, acts of violence, man. You saw gang members coming together and being as one to commemorate Nipsey Hussle. You saw the LAPD commemorate Nipsey Hussle. How you get respect from gang members and the police like that?
Right.
That's something. That speaks volumes on everything that Nipsey Hussle was doing, man. And if there's one more thing that I gotta mention about Nipsey Hussle, man, that I gotta stress to everybody who's listening to this, man, appreciate your loved ones while they were gone, man. Nipsey Hussle was a father. He was a brother. He had I'm not sure if him and Lauren London were married, but they had a kid together.
They've been together for like 6 years.
Yeah, they've been together for a while, and I think the situation, everyone's paying their respects to Nipsey Hussle. But you gotta appreciate the good things while they're here. It definitely speaks to the saying that you never miss a good thing till it's gone. And I think with this situation, you really never miss a good thing till it's gone. But one thing I think we can get from this is that with Nipsey Hussle's passing, that more people can do the things that he was doing as well, and follow the blueprint. Definitely follow the blueprint of what Nipsey Hussle was doing, because he was gone at 33 and had done so much, did so much, and that's something that's just so honorable. And this won't be the last time I mention Nipsey Hussle, man. That's for damn sure. Big loss in the hip hop game. It's very, very, very unfortunate. If you aren't informed with Nipsey Hussle, just look at everything he was doing. Listen to the music. It's just very, very unfortunate. Very, very sad, and I hope this doesn't continue. And that's that's a very optimistic thinking, because when you're of the status of Nipsey Hussle, people are going to be jealous of you. They will hate you. They see somebody so awesome and just doing the right things that their insecurities get in the way. So rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle, man. If I could, I'd pour one out for him, but I don't know how PRX Podcast Garage would feel about that. I really would pour one out for him. I'll do one for my Snapchat or Instagram tonight. Pour one out for Nipsey Hussle, man. For real. It's just big, big, big loss in the game. Yeah, it's just so crazy. Like, when is this violence gonna stop? When are these types of violence gonna quit in the hip hop community? We only see this in hip hop.
Right.
Like, we don't see this with pop stars and R&B stars, and I get that. I get why. It's hip hop has a lot of artists from these really broken down neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So I understand that, but it just needs to stop. It needs to stop. It's very unfortunate. As a therapist, Mikayla, what do you see needs to be done amongst the black community to mend these, like, people like the guy who murdered Nipsey Hussle? Because obviously the guy who murdered Nipsey Hussle, he had a real messed up brain, and I feel like the mentality that he had is something that needs to be cured. What do you think needs to be done amongst the black community to mend these situations?
Right. I mean, it's definitely the the old time issue of like the crabs in the bucket mentality. Like, have you heard that phrase? Like, where it's like one crab is trying to get to the top, and then the other crabs are like trying to climb on top of that one to get to the top themselves. And they're pulling the other one down, right?
Yeah.
So that idea that, like, in the black community in general, like, when we're doing well, like, other people don't want to see us do well, right? Like, it could be anything. Like, even just, like, growing up, you speak well. Like, oh, you talk white, and, we're going to attack you now for that, because we don't want to see you do well. Because you're doing well, that means that we can't do well, right?
Exactly.
Which is just, it comes from, like, another place of, like, oppression where it's like, well, there can only be one of us. Only one of us can make it to the top. Because that's as much as, like, these white people are going to allow.
Exactly.
Right? Like, these white people are only going to allow one slot for one black person, and if it's not me, like, it's definitely not going to be you. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
it's got to be me. Right? So yeah, I think, like, a lot of times, I mean, and I think that there's unfortunately, as it is, there's not a lot of prioritization of mental health in the black community.
No.
So it's like,
not at all.
you know,
Not
like,
at all.
man, if you know, and it's like crazy too, because like black people as a whole, just like we're less, you know, trusting of healthcare providers in general. So we don't trust doctors, we don't trust mental health therapists, we don't trust anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's rooted in survival. You know, we couldn't trust people for a very long time, and some people still can't be trusted, right? So it's like, it's like, how do we like gain enough trust so that we can actually get the help that we need, right? Because like the person that needs therapy the most in the world is the black person.
Yes,
you know,
for sure.
Like the whole experience of being black is traumatic. Like we have generational trauma. You know, so it's like there's just so much that goes into our experiences, like on just like a day-to-day basis, you know, whether you're at like a predominantly black space or you're at like a predominantly white space, like it's still a struggle.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
So yeah, it's really unfortunate that like that person couldn't, you know, find the resources, or that the resources maybe even weren't there, you know, to kind of go through what's going on in their mind, right? But it's like it's all toxic, you know what I mean? Whether it's like the toxic like hood mentality, you know? Like,
that hood mentality is so I hate it. I hate it.
You know?
It's just so messed up, and people like the hood mentality will tell you that killing somebody is cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's
like,
a completely warped sense of like, like I worked, you know, like in the Lynn area for a while, and like a lot of my clients had that very same mentality, like we don't snitch, we don't do this, like if you disrespect me, like I'm coming after you, like this like law almost, you know? It's like how they view the world, you know? And that's great for survival in that world, but it doesn't help us thrive like long term, you know? So it's not helping you like get more emotionally sound to the point where you're not doing these kinds of rash, violent things, you know, like that doesn't actually help you in the long run.
No, not at all.
So, yeah, it's hard, you know, like like you think about the black community, you think about the black male community specifically, like they're going to therapy at an even lower rate, you know what I mean, than obviously the women. So,
there needs to be more. We need to publicize therapy more.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong and shameful about going to therapy.
No.
And people look at it as this thing where it's like, oh, you go to therapy? What are you, like, psycho? You crazy? Like, it's like, nah, I'm better in my mental health.
Exactly.
Because you got to unpackage all that stuff in your brain. You can't hold all that stuff in your brain.
Yeah.
The truth will set you free. So you got to let out all that.
Yeah, but first it'll make you mad.
Yeah,
right?
but first will make exactly. You gotta let it all out there because I don't think a lot of people they think that's a cop out. You know, like it's ridiculous.
It's interesting too because I think a lot about like that, like even just like back in like slave days when like the slave owners would use that idea of like let's keep the body strong but the mind weak. You know what I mean? So it's like that's been something that we've been like geared and trained towards, you know, since back then, right?
For sure, yeah.
So that idea that like we keep our bodies strong and bodies are important, but like our mental health just isn't, you know?
Yeah.
And so now we're all walking around weak-minded people. We can't handle things. We have like very low tolerance for frustration to the point where like if someone disrespects us in even a small way, we're like, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and just go shoot you down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's like a somehow a rational thought for somebody in that state, right? When in reality, that's obviously irrational.
It's so irrational.
Like, yeah, like I'm telling you, like I worked with clients there. I'll be like, wait, I'm sorry. So you're saying like she disrespected you?
Yeah.
Now you want to go like they wouldn't say kill her, but like they'd be like now you're gonna I don't know key her car or something.
Yeah,
maybe.
something
that
wrong.
wasn't you know because I am a mandated reporter. Yeah, but like they'd be like no when I see her blah 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 and I'm like but all she did was like bump into you or something.
Yeah,
you know
like
what I mean?
yeah,
like,
over some dumb shit.
Right, or like a misunderstanding, you know, just like really quick to make judgments or assume things, you know, it's just all distorted thinking. Yeah. You know, which a therapist could really get you together on if you went to therapy.
Exactly.
So, you know, it's just
people just do these like overreact to certain things that aren't that big of a deal. Like, I was telling somebody the other day, like, yo, if someone called me, like if someone called me, like, a bitch, like, you a bitch, I'm like, who are you? I don't give a damn what you think about me.
Right.
Like, I'm not gonna fight you just because you called me a bitch. Like,
Right.
like, I don't hate you. Like, yeah, you call me a bitch, I'll be like, yo, chill, bro. Like,
Right.
And some people will be like, yo, we just called you a bitch. You should fight him. Like, nah, man. Like, I'm so like happy in my brain. I'm so like good in my brain and have self-love that I don't need to fight this dude. Like, his opinion about me, calling me that, does not need me to prove my manliness. And that's another thing. Masculinity.
Listen, I was just about to say.
That's it. What I'm showing is that like this whole this toxic masculinity. Like, I don't got that. Like, I don't need to show myself like, oh, he making fun of me, he's disrespecting me, I need to fight him. Like, what? Like, I don't need to prove that. Like, I'm happy here. Like, I don't care what you think about me in that way. Like, I don't care. Like,
and it's like, I'm always telling my clients this too. I'm like, you know, you gain more control by like releasing control, you know? So it's like you're trying to like control like how people view you and how masculine people perceive you to be, right? And it's like, in reality, like, that means now that they have that, they can control you with that.
Exactly.
That means if I walk up to you and I call you a bitch, like, you're gonna fight me now.
Exactly.
And I got the reaction I wanted out of you. Whereas if you were like, you know what, I'm gonna let go of that toxic masculinity, I'm gonna let go of like the society's view of masculinity, then like when I say that to you, you're not. Like, I'm not controlling you now.
Exactly.
You're in control.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And that's why I don't react to it, because I'm not going to let you win, bro.
Yeah.
If I throw that first punch at you for calling me a bitch, then you won.
Yeah.
Even if, like, you know, like, unless I knock you out.
But it's like, if you hope this happens in a dark alley somewhere where there's no police, like, you think about the legal ramifications of that.
Exactly.
Just the emotional fact that, like, someone got a rise out of you. You know what I mean? It's like, they had control over you. Like, you didn't even see it.
Yeah,
you know? Like, some
right
people
over
are
your head.
Yeah, you know? So it's like, no, I want to be in control of my actions. Like, I'm not putting my hands on somebody.
Nah, not at all.
It's just not worth it.
Nah, it's just, like, I don't gotta prove nothing to you, bro.
Right.
Like, who are you? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
it never really feels great afterwards anyway. Like,
exactly.
you feel good like for like 30 seconds. You're like, yeah, while you're laying on the ground. But it's like, now what?
Exactly. Yeah. What'd you get out of that?
Does someone
really?
appear and give you a card that says you're a man?
Like, yeah. Congratulations, you are now a man.
Right. Here's your membership.
Yeah.
But we talk about that too, like in the psych world, where it's like precarious manhood. That idea that like when something's precarious, right? It's like hard to gain, and really easy to lose. So it's hard to gain that acceptance as a man, but easy to lose it for anything. You know, like it's all really, really toxic. Oh, it's so toxic.
Yeah, trust me, I can only imagine like as like a female, like seeing like the toxic masculinity, like Jesus, because men have a hard time talking about that, seeing that.
Yes.
And I just never understood it. Like,
it's like, it's interesting too, because, you know, I know you talk about Jay-Z a lot here, like, and I love like that Jay-Z did that whole like video with all those different like black actors, like, and like actors, the rappers, all of them, you know, for like things like for Footnotes or something in like 444.
Yeah.
It was like a video. It was like 11 minute, 12 minute.
Oh yeah.
And it was like all these different guys. Like, it was obviously Jay-Z, and then there was like Chris Rock, and you know, just like different people. Anthony Anderson was there.
Yeah.
And they were all just talking about this idea of like not being in control of their mental health and all the ramifications of that. You know, so you have all these black men who are like pretty influential in like just the rap world, black world in general, and they're all being like, man, like I didn't have control of my mental health, and like it kind of led me down a wrong road.
That's what I'm saying.
I lost wives. I lost marriages. I lost like kids. I couldn't see my kids because, you know, I wasn't right.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I just thought that was like so brilliant, you know. And Jay-Z himself talks about
Jay-Z talking about it.
Therapy.
Yeah, that should let you know something. A guy of that like stature with that much money and the power he has goes to therapy. Maybe you should think twice about it too. Like, maybe you should think twice about it too.
Like 444 is like just like a huge testament to this idea.
That's
like,
grown man rap.
That's
grown man.
I'm telling you, it's like I'm not. Well, you know.
Yeah, I wasn't ready.
Get into B, but like.
Yeah, no, we will. We definitely will.
Like, it was such a good testament to just mental health in the black community. Yeah.
Now the thing about mental health. Now, a lot of people nowadays want to claim like they have a mental illness. Do you think that mental illness has become this fad that everyone's trying to get on? Because it's good for marketing.
Yeah.
With rappers, like they like it's good for like saying like, yo, like, I got anxiety and all this stuff. And anxiety is like the first one everyone says. Anxiety, like everybody got anxiety nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you think about that?
It's interesting, I guess, because like when you think of like fads, like they're things that people are just like, it's what people are talking about right now, right? So I think it's good that mental health is being talked about more and that we're normalizing it more, right?
Yeah.
But I think there are also but like with anything, right? People are gonna abuse that, unfortunately. So I think like there are probably people out there who abuse it and say that they have that something, that they're maybe making something out to be worse than it actually is.
True,
yeah. But obviously like when it comes to the serious like psychotic disorders, like those are pretty real, and you wouldn't want to wish that upon yourself or anyone.
Not at all. No, not at all.
So I think that's why like depression and anxiety are like the go-to ones.
Yeah, those are the go-to ones for sure.
Yeah.
No one's claiming they have bipolar disorder.
Right.
Right.
Well, yeah. It depends on your circles, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what I mean.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
No one's like claiming that. Like, but everyone claiming they got depression.
Well,
Everyone's claiming their anxiety.
People kind of like bastardize it. Like, oh, like I really like I like for my phone to be here, and my water to be here, and this to be here. So I'm so OCD, and it's like. No, girl. Like, there are people out there with true OCD who, like, cannot leave their house in the morning until they check the door 5 times. They run the water tap 5 times.
It's real.
They tap this thing 5 times. Like, it is.
It jeopardizes relationships. Like, that's how bad their OCD
real.
is.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, we as professionals, like, we have, like kind of like the psych Bible. I'm sure you probably actually studied it in college, like the DSM.
Yeah, DSM. Yes, yes.
So you were probably looking at the DSM-5 when you were coming up.
Explain to people what DSM is if they don't know.
Yeah, the Diagnostics and Statistics Manual.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I figured you would know what it stood for. I forgot.
I'm actually surprised I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically just kind of like a roadmap to all of the different psychological disorders and what. The criteria is for you to actually meet those disorders.
Okay.
So, like, I'd have clients in the past who would be like, well, sometimes I just, like, don't even know where I am or, like, whatever. And, like, sometimes I'm different with this person than I am with that person. I must have, like, dissociative identity disorder. And And I'm like, I don't know that that's it. Right? I was, like, not trying to invalidate your experience, right? But, like, let's open this DSM and see if that's, like, a diagnosable, like, disorder for you.
Exactly.
And it's just it's kind of more a roadmap for us than for everybody else, but it's also just like at the end of the day, it's like, okay, like if you do have dissociative identity disorder, then what does that mean for you? Exactly. Right, the diagnosis. So yeah, so a lot of times people will say, oh, I'm anxious, and it's like, okay, well tell me more about that anxiety.
We need more.
We really got to like sparse out anxiety and stress. Like everyone knows what it's like to be stressed.
Exactly.
And everyone knows what it's like to be sad, but like. Anxiety and depression are like more extreme versions of those things,
Definitely.
Right? But then I think people also underreport too, where it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, I cry every night when I go to sleep. It's whatever, and you're like, that's not good.
Let's unpack that.
Let's unpack that. Like, are you having random bouts of crying? Like, you're having random how is that affecting your functioning? That's one of the main things in the DSM. It's going to talk a lot about like that's always a main criteria, almost in all of them, I think.
Yeah.
It's like functional impairment in any kind of functional area of your life. So that's social, family, schoolwork maybe, or jobs. Like, is it affecting you, right? And people don't even always think of the ways it affects them. It's like, well, you didn't, like, you were up late, so like you were up late last night because you were so anxious about this test that you didn't go to bed on time, and then you woke up late and you missed a class.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like
that's impairing your life.
Yeah,
right?
There's something going on. You gotta figure that one out, because it's not just you not getting enough sleep. Like,
exactly. So
there's more to it.
Yeah, I'm always like, I guess I'm always just wanting to like ask more questions when it comes to that.
Does it ever weigh you down with the stories that you hear sometimes?
Not really. I mean, I'm pretty, in like the training when you're in grad school, like a lot of our training is a lot around like self-care and taking care of yourself and like being very aware that you're gonna hear some wild stuff.
Yeah, because I was gonna say you must hear some crazy stories.
I've heard some wild stuff.
People are telling you the truth. Yes. Like, they're telling you everything. Like, they're not holding back.
So, I mean, I've heard some stuff that would make you just like never trust another human being again.
Have you heard anything that was like, you should be in jail?
I mean, I did work in substance abuse, so I mean, a lot of those people were getting away with a lot of different crimes.
Okay.
Not necessarily like harming someone.
Yeah.
Because that's where I'd have to report, but like But if they come in and they're like, yeah, I sold a guy a dime or whatever, it's like, well, I'm not gonna tell you.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want, like, I'm bound by confidentiality. For
Yeah,
that.
of course,
so,
yeah. You
so
gotta stick with that.
Yeah, so there were definitely some things, and like we were kind of like, we were kind of all like, say, it might be likely that like somebody, that they've done something that was super illegal. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah, but it's like we can't say anything.
Yeah, you got
a court order, so.
Keep that in the books, yeah.
No, but I try to separate like work and home as much as possible.
Yeah, definitely. But whether you do, you definitely should.
Yeah. So
people are like unpacking their sadness on you and their hardships. So
well, it's like you really gotta like identify like why you're coming into this field in the first place, right? Because it's like, are you coming in so you can like, help these people and help these people in a way that like betters yourself? Like, is it self-serving?
Yeah.
Because if it's self-serving, then how well your clients are doing or how poorly they're doing is always going to be impacting yourself, right?
Yeah, for
Whereas
sure.
it's like I'm a guide. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I tell my clients this all the time. I'm like, listen, like I'm a guide here. Like I champion your successes and I warn your failures. But at the end of the night, like when I go home, I don't lose a wink of sleep because like this is your life.
Yeah, like this ain't mine. Like it's up to you to do what you gotta do. I can tell you everything you need to know, but are you gonna follow through with it? That's up to you to decide.
That's the work. You got to do the work. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So it's like I can kind of show you the way like a GPS, but you're the one that has to make the turns. And,
exactly.
Get on the highway, get off, whatever, right?
Yeah. I totally agree with you there.
Yeah.
Well, if there's one thing we gotta get out of this, Mikayla, we gotta let the people know. Go see a therapist, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm telling you, you got to.
You need it whether you realize it or not. I see a therapist, ladies and gentlemen. First time telling you that. Look, I see a therapist, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. And that shit helps me a lot. I've literally have been so much better mentally and just everything in my life. Like my relationships with my family and friends have become better because I've seen a therapist. My music has gotten better since I've seen a therapist. I do the podcast better since I've seen a therapist. And like I'll put it this way, ladies and gentlemen, them first two it was after the first two episodes of the podcast I did, I started seeing a therapist. Listen to the first two episodes of the podcast. I sound different. I talk different. I'm different. Like having a therapist has like truly helped me a lot. And I'll leave it at that. Like see a therapist.
Yeah, because it's like with because you think about like just like black people in general, right? And then you add on like the layer of being like Caribbean, like.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
hard.
It's
hard because older people, they have older Jamaicans. They probably like therapy.
My parents did not get. They're like, girl, I don't understand the psychology thing you want to do.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got into grad school that they were like, okay, so I guess you're gonna do something with this.
Yeah.
Like, so this is gonna be a real profession. Like people actually need, and then we're cousins, so like our like other cousins and stuff will joke around like, I'm kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Help me out. It's like, ha, ha, ha. No, it's like yes, I do help people who are very, very severely mentally ill, but I also like a lot of the good work I'm doing is just people who just want to like be better human beings.
Exactly.
It can be. It's a range.
Exactly.
It's a range.
There's a lot of ways to look at it. That's so true.
Absolutely.
See a therapist, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I gotta say.
Please do.
See Mikayla.
I know, right? Listen.
Holla at Mikayla if you need that.
Okay, you pay me. No, like there's I think there's a site called like Therapy for Black Girls.
Okay.
So if you have any black female identified listeners,
yes,
definitely, and who want really like a black therapist. I mean, men too probably can go on there and just like find the black therapist out there.
Yeah,
definitely.
What I mean?
It's a database.
Yeah, my therapist is black. Yeah. I asked for a black therapist.
Yeah.
I had to.
Yeah.
I was like, if I'm going to talk to a therapist, I need him to be black. So
the college I work at, that's like a big part of my role is like being the therapist of color that people are requesting.
For sure, yeah.
I get it.
Gotta have that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about something else here, ladies and gentlemen. Because I feel like we just knowledged your ass real quick.
I know, right? You gotta digest that. Take notes.
Take notes on that. Go back.
Class.
Go back and then listen on that. We gotta talk about something here. Mikayla is a really, really, really big Beyonce fan, ladies and gentlemen. She is definitely part of the Beehive.
Ooh, that's where you insert the applause track right
now. Yeah.
Listen, I'm a true member of the Beehive.
Yes,
like,
true
legit
member.
card-carrying member.
How many times have you seen Beyonce live?
Ooh, 5.
Yes. Yo, seeing an artist 5 times,
Yeah.
that should tell you not just this artist I really like, I don't think I'd see them 5 times live.
Yeah.
That lets you know just how fire of a performer Beyonce is. Beyonce is the greatest. I was saying this last night to my mom. I think she disagreed with me. But Beyonce is the greatest performer of all time.
Yeah.
Of all time.
Hands down.
Not even a question. But what I gotta say about Beyonce, when it comes to her music, there are other artists out here that that's what I'm saying. Female artists in her genre, there's other artists that I do like more. Yeah, definitely. But I'll never say Beyonce is overrated. But some people do think that. What do you think about people who say Beyonce is overrated, music-wise?
I kind of feel like it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, right at the top of this, where it's like, sometimes people don't want to see people do well. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
No, you're right.
You know what I mean? Like, when someone is, like, so, like, hyped, like, there's always gonna be that handful of people that's like, she ain't great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She's not that pretty.
She's not that pretty. She's not that talented. Mm-hmm. It's like, but she is. Like, it's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay if she is.
Yeah,
like,
it's like,
it doesn't take away from your value, I promise.
Exactly, yeah, right? It
doesn't... people love to hate.
Mm-hmm, they really do. Because Beyonce's just, she's like perfect.
Yeah,
she's beautiful. She makes amazing music. Yeah. She's a great performer. She's married to Jay-Z. Mm-hmm. Jay-Z, one of the sister. Man, that stuff too. I was just talking about the accolades.
Right? No, just all the things.
Just everything. Like no clean record. Nothing. You can't find nothing wrong with Beyonce like on some like dirty stuff.
No.
She just does everything so right.
She's been in the game for a minute. It's not like she just like popped out of nowhere and was this good. You know what I mean? Like she's been doing this. Like
I'm saying, Destiny's Child. That's what she's. Right. That's where it started. That's where it all started. I think even from there, like I think a lot of people who are in the music and see things like the way they are, I think they already knew from the get-go Beyonce was gonna be a superstar.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know how you were saying earlier, too, this idea of, like, oh, there can only be one, you know? There can only be one. Like, there's only one slot, right? So I think sometimes people feel like if they like Beyonce, then they can't like Rihanna, or they can't like, Janelle Monáe, or whoever, right? It's like, but, like, no, like, we can like all of them, right? Because, like, black women are also
that's what I'm saying.
Magic.
So,
like, listen, like...
Ain't nothing stronger than a black woman, because the stuff that black women go through this country... And then just in general, like, I told...
Malcolm said it best.
What's up?
Malcolm said it best.
Yeah.
Right? The most disrespected person in America is a black woman.
It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah.
And we could literally go on a very long time for a topic like that. Mm-hmm. I think, ladies and gentlemen, you already know what we would need to say about something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
Do your research, you know?
Just do your Googles, ladies and gentlemen.
Google, she is free. You
know?
Exactly. She's open to you 24/7, 365. You know what I mean? Like,
some people don't want to learn, though.
Hey, I would say, I'm like, ignorance is a choice.
Yeah, ignorance is a choice.
You choose to be ignorant, you know? Because it's 2019. The information is on your fingertips. We're holding these like, computers, these mini computers on a daily basis. Like, you could just look it up.
Yeah, right?
Like, you could just look it up. And there's so many people who've done, like, think pieces and, like, beautiful articles about these kinds of things. Like, you don't want to know.
Yeah, I think that's just all. Some people don't want to swallow that truth pill.
I love that meme. There's, like, hard pills to swallow.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah. It's like, that's one of the hard pills to swallow, right?
Yeah, they don't want to learn about just, like, how much, like, obviously black people in general, we have a lot of hardships that come to us, being in this country. But the black woman definitely deals with a lot more. Right. Definitely deals with a lot more. Because women have their own, like with the feminist movement, like I learned in like a class one time. Like, they had the feminist movement, but that shit was just really about white women. Yep. What about all the other, all the types of women in the world?
The intersectionality piece didn't come for like 20 more years.
Exactly.
Like, it was like, oh, wait, black women are a thing? Oh, women of color are a thing? Latino women are a thing? Asian women are a thing? Like, oh, maybe we should talk about them too. Native women, like...
Exactly,
the stats for sexual assault and rape and, like, all these bad things, like, are at a higher rate for women of color than they are for white women.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
the pay gap is worse for women of color than it is for white women.
Exactly, yes.
Like...
So we can't just say, like, women, like, we gotta break it down more. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
We gotta break it down a lot more. And so that's just the truth of the matter. But back to Beyonce, back to Beyonce. Look, any of y'all out there who don't appreciate Beyonce, what are you where's your brain at? How do you not see the amazingness of Beyonce, man? She's like the first one that dropped the surprise album.
Right.
I don't think. I think
2013.
Yeah.
December.
Was it Beyonce? Was that the name of it?
It was self-titled. Yeah.
Yeah. That's still look.
And like for you to like come out with a self-titled album so like late in your career.
That's some boss shit.
Like
that's boss.
That's
boss.
That's something you do when you just started off. You're like, oh, like
this is
my
introduction to the
album,
world.
Mikayla, y'all. Like
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So people know your name.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, that's so boss. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could stand all day, you know.
Yeah. No, I feel it. Beyonce's just so amazing. And I think she's definitely gets all the respect and credit that she deserves. And it's funny that she's with Jay-Z, but it's like, who's more of a big deal, Jay-Z or Beyonce?
Right.
I am going to say Beyonce because Beyonce dominates her field more than Jay-Z does.
Yeah.
Jay-Z, like, he's arguably the greatest rapper of all time. When I have my top 5 list of greatest rappers, like Jay-Z's number 1. Whether I like his music or not, he's the GOAT. You know what I'm saying?
You know who my top 5 rappers are of all time?
Who?
Dylan.
Spit out fire. If you've never seen that skit, ladies and gentlemen.
Yo, look it up.
What?
Classic.
Never watched the Chappelle show, man?
Dylan.
I thought you were gonna break it down. I was like, damn, okay. It's like, let me break it down. You got your top 5 ready with you? Like, oh shit.
Yes, it's Dylan. Because
Yeah.
it's Spit Hot Fire. Yeah. That's like classic. I had to do that.
No, that's a classic one.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Jay-Z is he's up there. He's up there.
He's gotta be
for sure.
Mm-hmm. Like you can't
What a power couple.
Yeah, that's the power couple.
Ultimate.
There's no stronger power couple than Jay-Z and Beyonce.
You know, I think it was Obama or Michelle. One of them said it to Beyonce. I think yeah, that's how me and Michelle are with your song "Upgrade You." She came to my life and she upgraded me. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
The president of the United States just told you I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't. He's a fan.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he actually messes with the music.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Man, Beyonce's great, man. Appreciate Beyonce, ladies and gentlemen. Like I was mentioning with Nipsey Hussle, appreciate the ones while they're here. Please appreciate Beyonce. Men, appreciate Beyonce. We don't appreciate Beyonce. A lot of men don't really.
Yeah.
But,
Go tell a black woman, anyone you know. Just any black woman you know. Just tell you love her today.
Yeah.
Black woman appreciate
Yes, please, ladies and gentlemen. I beg of you.
Yeah.
From I'm about to call myself a mayor podcast. From a mayor Max to the TempahZone podcast, please.
Yes.
Tell your loved ones you love them.
Mm-hmm.
Tell a black woman how strong they are.
Yeah.
Please. I wanted to talk to you also about one more thing, because we're getting close on time.
Yeah.
Female rappers in the game.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people just assume that only Nicki Minaj and Cardi B are the only female rappers out here.
Man. The tip of the iceberg.
Just the tip of the iceberg, man.
Yeah.
But what I really got to say about this is that a lot of men out here, they are annoyed by Nicki Minaj and Cardi B.
Yeah.
Do you think that men have a hard time listening to female rappers? Or do you think it's just Nicki Minaj and Cardi B?
I feel like it is all female rappers because you think about it like this, Nicki and Cardi are the only ones that we really talk about or know about as much, right?
Yeah.
So it's those are the only ones that the larger male population has let through the gate. You know what I mean? And said you can do what we do.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to there can only be one, right? So that's why Nicki and Cardi fight the way that they do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because it's we are getting this message from the patriarchy.
Yeah.
I just had to drop in the patriarchy.
Nah, you got it.
But we're getting this message from the patriarchy that there can only be one of us. So now we have to hate each other. We can't work with each other, right? And then you think about Nicki versus Remy, right? Where Nicki was doing the same thing with Remy, where she's well, there can only be one. And Remy's I don't subscribe to that.
Get out of here.
Remy was very, very I want to get all these female rappers involved. I want all these I want us to collaborate. I want us to be big. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And you got and then you got a lot of the other female rappers out there are so underground. You got your Trinas, your Rashidas. Those are that's deep cuts, man.
Yeah, seriously.
That's what I grew up with. You know what I mean?
Sure,
I loved me. I loved me.
Eve, Missy Elliott.
Exactly. The Brat.
Another one back in the day is Lady of Rage.
Oh, I don't know her.
Yeah, Lady of Rage is like way back, but she was like hard with this shit. You know what I'm saying?
A good one, the Jamaican one is Lady Saw. You know Lady Saw?
I don't.
Listen, get into that. Get into that. Listen,
Yeah.
But you think of like all these like really famous like black female rappers. Like I feel like a lot of times like their like shtick or whatever their thing is like they talk a lot about like sexual like freedom and empowerment and all this. And I think that like there's like something about that can't always like peacefully coexist.
Yeah.
Right? With the way that like that men want to oppress women. So I think it's like this like weird like we're like it's like these black women are like wild. Like wilding out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then these black men are like, no, like don't forget the pecking order, don't forget the patriarchy,
exactly.
right? So it's really unconventional, you know what I mean? So I really celebrate that because it's like, yeah, like fight against the establishment, man. You know what I'm saying?
Beat the norm. Beat the norm.
Exactly. Challenge convention, you know? So, yeah, absolutely.
No, I totally agree with you on that. Like,
I think it's why it's hard for them to hear sometimes.
Yeah. But I hear people say dumb shit like, oh, they're rapping voice. I can't stand it. It's too much. I just don't want. I'm like, yo, like, chill on that. Like,
you don't like women's voices.
That's a little. That's a little weird, man. Like you gotta dig into yourself a little bit more if you're.
Think about the bigger scope of that. Like you don't like a woman's voice. You know what I mean? It's like you don't want her to speak. You don't want her to like be vocal
and be confident and rap the way she should. Like yeah, and that's like a big problem that I have. Like when people do stuff like say stuff like that. Like it's one thing where you're just like because like Nicki Minaj got songs that like you like how do you not like that? Like Cardi B's got some songs like how do you not like that? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and there's more than that. Like Rhapsody, Snow the Product, Lil Sims, and Bree Steves. Those are other female rappers out here, ladies and gentlemen, that you should check out if you don't. Because if you just think Nicki Minaj and Cardi B are the only female rappers out here, and well, City Girls are popping now too, but their style is something. I don't know. I'm not that crazy about City Girls. But like these 4 rappers I named, like y'all gotta check them out. Like they actually rap their ass off. They go hard. They're different. They bring something new to the table. Please check them out and stop thinking that Nicki and Cardi are the only ones. Like I'm sick and tired of people thinking that with female rappers it's just them. There's so many more. Like there's so many more. Like
and there's so many like different identities in that too, right?
Exactly.
Like, it's not just like these black women of color. There are black women that are rappers. Like there's a lot of like Asian women rapping, and there's like Latino women rapping, and like there's all of that. You know what I mean? Like
I've seen
native rap. Oh, you had a girl. Yeah, the girl who was doing native rap, right?
She's
into native rap.
Yeah. She's big on that. Shout out to Grace. Shout out to her. But yeah, like we need to explore more with that. Like people are just closing on this.
Your mind,
people don't want to open their mind.
No,
like they don't. They just want to stay in their little hermit crab and just chill there all day. Like I don't get it. People just want things to be simple all the time.
It makes life simpler, but not necessarily easier long term. You know, which is like I'm always like challenging my clients to do the harder thing, to kind of go that road less traveled. You know, that's gonna like produce more growth. Like there's no growth without discomfort. Like you're gonna be uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Embrace it. Lean into it.
Yeah,
it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard, but
you're gonna feel so much. I'm sure, like anyone who's in therapy can tell you, like there were times when it was really, really hard.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, this was so hard. You know, because I'm really challenging some of these things that I didn't, think about or want to think about. But like, you will be a better person for it.
Yeah. Like you got
10 times out of
sometimes
9.
you gotta go through them bumpy roads to get to that smooth pavement. You know, that's the way I see it. Like
no pain, no gain.
Exactly.
Sports people be saying.
Yeah, it's true though. It's true. People want that easy route. It's like nah. Yeah, you could take that easy route, but you ain't gonna be around for long.
Yeah.
In terms of like
it's
like
not make you better.
It's not gonna make you better. Yeah. So that's the way I see it.
Yeah.
I want to ask you one more question before we get out of here.
Yeah.
What are some techniques that you've learned that people can use to just ease the stress of everyday life?
Yes. Okay. Stress. Yeah. I mean, for starters, I feel like just like being in therapy as like a base and like having someone that you're like actively talking these things out with and bouncing these ideas off people is helpful. Just because like even just like having someone who just like validates like man like that you're not abnormal for thinking this way, you're not abnormal for being stressed about, like validating that, right, is like that like does like light years, like that does like that works wonders for just as a base, right? And then you've got like different like a lot of like different techniques for like these are more so anxiety based, obviously geared towards anxiety, but they can help for anything. Like grounding techniques or like meditation stuff, mindfulness stuff.
Big,
so I'm always recommending mindfulness, like any mindfulness practices to my clients. So when it comes to like grounding, I'll talk about doing like body scans, you know, like where it's like, oh, like what do my feet feel like in my shoes?
Yeah,
what do my knees feel like? What does my like thighs feel like? Are they on the chair? Are they on the bed? Whatever. Like
that's
how
a
do I
good
feel
one
my
too.
shoulders?
I've tried that one. Yeah.
Right. So doing a kind of a quick little silent body scan to kind of tell your, you know, to keep yourself calm and to kind of keep yourself in the present moment. Because when we're not present, like we're either like, you know, we're either worried about the past or we're worried about the future, you know? So like being present is the best way to kind of avoid worry.
Awesome. Yeah. That's,
yeah.
hey, that's.
I am a therapist.
Yeah, that's dope. No, that's really dope. No,
Yeah.
I just filling me in on that is awesome.
Yeah,
I wanted to end it on that note because I think
Yeah.
in this day and age, with all the stuff going on, we
Yeah.
need to find ways to ease the mind.
Yeah, man.
You know,
get
ease the mind.
into therapy. Talk
Yeah,
to your
get
loved
into-
ones
yeah, yeah.
about it.
All that.
You know, a lot of therapists work on sliding scales,
Yep.
you know, so they'll adjust price for you.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
You know, like try it. See what happens.
Got it. Yeah, just give it a shot, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen. Try therapy.
Yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah. Well, Mikayla, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thanks for
this
having
was
me,
really
man.
dope. This is really dope. I'm glad that we
Yes.
had this discussion.
It's wild. I'm like, oh, this is like my baby cousin. You know what I mean? So like, what?
Why,
Who is this? Who's this guy?
It's a mere Max.
Yes,
It's a mere Max.
man, like, enough respect. Like, you're doing it. Like, you're doing big things.
Yeah, I'm
like, man,
doing what
proud
I
of
can.
you.
Thank you,
It's
Mikayla.
crazy.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
yeah, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, well, time to conclude this podcast. Shout out to PRX Podcast Garage for hooking it up with the high quality sounds. Until next week, y'all. Peace.